So my question to you, and people have asked this before, but I want to hear the answer from you here on stage looking at you. I was raised in a violent home. I was abused most of my life. I spent most of my life working through that, which I have. My question is, why did I choose that? Because I understand that I did. I choose to come into this world to experience that. Why did I do that?
Well, step back from the specifics of that and from the extreme of that, from the hard to understand of that. Step back and just start in a general place that you are a teacher to the core of your being and you cannot teach what you do not know. Just start there. And then acknowledge that contrast is something that everyone came to experience. So then acknowledge that in contrast there is a launching of desire, and in desire there is a building of a vortex that defines who you really are and what you really want. So something that looks like something that you did not want actually created something that caused a stronger calling that is serving you extremely well now. Now, those answers are never very satisfying. Not satisfying to a person who experienced something far less than what they wanted in terms of a satisfying life, and not satisfying to the people who didn't experience it, who now wonder what they're missing because they didn't have a violent childhood. There's no one way that everyone decided to come forth and live. But it is important to acknowledge that out of everything is born focus. And so what this speaks to really, and these are the words that will be very valuable in any teaching that you decide to do as you move forward, that in every experience there is a defining of desire. And there is no question that the stronger the experience is, the stronger the definition of the desire is. But most people, and this is one of the strongest messages that you will discover, that you will be wanting to speak to those who are asking you about specifically this. It is the paying attention to what is that holds anyone in a place that they do not want to be. It's attention to what is that holds you there. Attention to what is that holds you there. Attention to what is that holds you there. Now, did you find yourself only giving attention to what is, or did you find yourself able to focus outside or away from what is as you were moving through those early years?
I was able to separate myself even as it was going on in those early years.
So you found yourself able to focus outside of reality. Mm-hmm. You see, that's what we're asking everyone to do in a variety of now experiences. Don't let what is dominate your thought. Let it be the bouncing off place for the thoughts that feel better to think. And so this conversation is about, and these words are going to sound odd, accepting reality as the bouncing off place to discover your true connection in order to deliberately create your reality. So it's sort of like everybody has to start wherever they start. And yes, you did choose that, but not because you were disadvantaged, but because you wanted to be advantaged.
Wow. Wow.
One day, let us just follow up with that before you slip into not agreeing with us. One day, Esther and Jerry were at an airport, and Esther looked up on the television, and there was something going on, and she looked down at the magazine that was on the table sitting next to her, and it was a picture of a family on foot, 4 of them, mother and a father, and a young girl and a slightly younger boy, and they were fleeing something that was behind them right into the direction of the camera. So the camera caught their intensity. And as Esther looked at it, then she looked up, and sitting right across the way from her, just a few feet, was a family, almost the same family. Father and a mother, and a young girl and a younger boy. And Esther looked at them, and they were lifeless. There was no interest in their eyes. There was no cell phones for them to play with. That's how long ago it was. They were just listlessly, limply sitting there being. And Esther looked at them, and then she looked at the fleers, and then she looked at them, and then she looked at the fleers, and she consciously thought, I'd rather be fleeing something than feeling like that. Because there was an aliveness in these people in the picture, and there was a not aliveness in the others. And that sort of speaks to what we're talking about. Anything that causes focus. And of course, now you understand. If there's a strong knowing what you don't want, then there's a strong knowing what you do want. It's like pulling a rubber band back far, 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 far. And when you let go of it, it's going to shoot really far, and you're going to have a long, nice ride from it. But you don't have to have those kinds of extremes. You don't have to, and now you know that. You don't have to have terrible things to cause you to focus. But things like that do cause you to focus. And as you pay attention, and as you get into your receiving mode, as you often do, and as you enjoy the rendezvous that law of attraction brings to you, you will continue to meet those like you who did not live with feathered nests, who were not pampered, whose guidance system was not replaced by someone else's control. Those like you who had those kinds of beginnings, who are now strong and exhilarated and eager and sure-footed and knowing. Because words don't teach. It really is only life experience, isn't it? Yeah.
Okay. So, no, I'm not going to disagree with any of that.
Yeah.
But going back to the whole idea of teaching and bringing this, into other people's experiences,
You could take, and this is important, those who come to you will come with contrast. And their contrast will be less severe than the contrast that you lived. That's all right. Contrast is contrast. And response to contrast, regardless of the severity of the conditions, is remarkably same.
I thought for a long time I went through the suffering so that I could help others. But when I tried to implement
Let's say it a different way.
ways-
I went through the suffering so that I would know how much I want not to suffer.
Okay. Yes, that's true. And so I thought I was here to do something big with that. And on this trip I have let that go. The whole idea that I was meant to be here to do something big.
Well, all of that is true. You were meant to be here to do something big. But you get to define it from your now reality, not from that reality.
Okay. I like that. And so what has led me to, there was a series of efforts I made to try to be helpful to others that kind of crashed and burned. And I figure that's my clarification and my defining along the way. Now I'm to a point where I'm like, all I want to do is move to Sedona and rock climb. I don't even want to work, Seriously, I want to make money somehow, just, living in Sedona and rock climbing. Or just have money come to me. That's it. So how did that happen?
Well, are you associating your action or your trauma? Is that experience what you're wanting to cash in on?
Quite frankly, I thought it was. I no longer think so. No.
What if that experience and all that it has brought forth within you has put you in a place of invincibility and in a place of empowerment, in a place of powerful attraction? What if all of that was not to go back and regurgitate? When you are a rock climber, don't you get better at climbing rocks when you climb rocks? Esther does not want to go to Sedona and climb rocks. You want to. So why does that seem like a reasonable thing for you to do? You've climbed enough. You've developed the skill.
Mm-hmm.
You're developing the skill.
I'm developing. So I should just go to Sedona.
Here's the most important thing that's coming from this conversation. If we say to you, just jump over the building, you were born to jump over the building, you would lose your trust in anything that we have to say, because your ability to jump over the building is not there. It's unlikely that you're going to just jump over the building. It's asking something of you that you just cannot do. You're not going to jump over the building. So if we said to you, really early days of your experience, you're going to live life that is going to bring you to the place that you're not only going to be able to jump over the building, you're going to want to jump over the building. That would be hard for you to hear, even though it is a true statement. So we want you all to just accept life as it comes to you a little bit. That's our strongest message. Just rest in what is. Don't judge it. Don't evaluate it. Don't condemn yourself. Don't condemn the others. Don't try to understand it. Just sort of be present in it and let life do what life will do with you. It will help you to give birth to desires, which it has done. So now, do you accept that you have a vortex that is full of desires?
Absolutely.
And the desires are not just go to Sedona and climb rocks. The desire is to be of help. The desire is to be of value. The desire is to feel good. The desires are to be prosperous. The desires are to understand your guidance. The desires are to continue your passionate expansion. In other words, there is so much that is in your vortex. So you give us these either or choices. So I thought I was supposed to do that, but if I'm not supposed to do that, then should I just go do that? And we say, it's not like that at all. You have a vortex full of really wonderful things that you have thought through incrementally, that as they are coming together, as they are gestating, as law of attraction is gathering cooperative components, and as your inner being is shining attention upon them, they are ripening into things that you can't see right now. And so you're saying, I can't see right now, and this doesn't seem like a viable option, and neither does that, so what do I do? And we say, go to Sedona and sit on the rocks and find your joy, as we said to someone else. Get happy. Get into that happy place so that your vortex can be realized, can be received by you. Lots of ideas will come. There are endless options for you. It's really pleasing to us to have a candid conversation with someone who has lived some life and come to a conclusion that is maybe different than what the vortex is providing, who then is trying to figure out what it all means, and is now in a gathering like this, where the emphasis of the gathering is tune in to the frequency of who you are and you will know. Well, we know that's not very satisfying, to be told just to tune into the frequency and you will know. But isn't your inclination to go to Sedona? That's what you said. That's all I want to do. That's the thought that keeps coming to me. And isn't it interesting? That sounds so irresponsible. And it sounds nothing like service. You thought you should be in the depths of some deep, dark neighborhood, helping children get out of dark, terrible places. And here you are, irresponsibly, being inspired by your inner being to just go do something frivolous that makes you happy. This is our message. Do something frivolous that makes you happy. And then everything else will follow. All the meaningful things, all the service things, all the beneficial things, and all the monetarily wonderful things will then come from that. This is a really good time for a segment of refreshment.